All right, I think we are live. Hello, you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to this week's live blind tasting. So we're supposed to be 4 drinketeers tonight. Unfortunately, there was a misunderstanding with sending some samples outside of the UK to Ireland that never arrived. So unfortunately, Martinez is not joining us tonight. However, we do have Stephen as the Spirits People Live crew team member representative tonight. And of course, we have special guest Ian from Posh Scotch over on Instagram, and they'll be joining us in a second. So before we do that, let's see. Oh, we have Greg. Greg, what's happening, man? Welcome on board. If you're watching, drop a comment, and we'll say hello to you guys as you pop in. And hopefully you guys will drink along with us. Steven's here. Jim, what's going on, man? Welcome, welcome. So another blind tasting, another fun, hopefully, hour of entertainment, hour plus, whatever happens, we'll see. I'll bring on Steven if he's ready. Steven, give me a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. All right, here we go. There he is.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
Yeah, not much here.
Yeah, you know, Tuesday night. Isolating with a bunch of booze. Dangerous, man.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, it's not the worst that could happen anyway.
Yeah.
So what's been going on since
Too much, to be brutally honest. It's just head down, working away, drinking as much, making a bigger dent to the pony pot and Oreo as I can do. Which is always good. Managed to had a surprise visitor turn up the other day, knock on the door, leave some samples, and then walk back to their car. It's one of the guys from Stoke-on-Trent that we met at the Manchester Rumfest.
Cool.
He dropped a few samples off. He's a paramedic with the ambulance service down there. So I've been talking to him about the situation that he's going through at the moment, and yeah, doesn't sound pleasant, right, to be brutally honest. So he did that, and I took it upon myself to throw a little bit of Old Brigand, some Plenty Pot and Oreo, and a few Jamaicans. So didn't send him away empty-handed, which is good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, give them some love.
Yeah, kill it with high-strength booze. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, strength stuff. They can always use it as a hand sanitizer. Worst case scenario, if they run out.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Stephen, thank you so much for joining once again. And yeah, we'll have to make do without Martinez tonight, but obviously we'll bring Ian on, and hopefully we'll have a good blind tasting. A few more people joining in the chat here. So Sam Clark has joined. Thanks for hopping in, Sam. Mark Slinger is here. And oh shit, Jim's here. Whiskey Novice, what's going on? Thanks for popping in. Let's bring on Mr. Ian himself. Thumbs up, all good to go. Yep, here he comes.
Evening, everyone.
Ian, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hey.
Welcome. How are you doing on your end in the strange times?
Strange times is the best way of describing it in a minute. But hey, it's I'm surviving. You know, I'm able to work from home, so there's some kind of routine. Plenty of whiskey and whiskey samples are arriving to my doorstep still. So hey, things could be a lot worse for me.
Good to hear. Good to hear. As time goes, at least. So Ian, standard question here for the special guest that joins every week, because obviously now we've done blind tastings every week for a few weeks now. So when was the last time you did a proper blind tasting?
Proper blind tasting. So there was a London Whisky Club event where we did some Macallan and Mortlach testing. Must have been back in October, November time. Where we had, I can't remember, I think it was 7 whiskies that we tasted blind. Obviously, you knew it was from one of those 2 distilleries, but that was it in terms of the pouring. So that was probably the last big one I did.
All right.
And then whenever I was on as a guest with you last time, which was, I don't know, probably before then.
All right. So yeah, it's not just around the corner, but yeah, hopefully you'll refresh your memory tonight. And as I was explaining, so this is kind of the theory behind these live streams is that these are not just my typical or your typical spirits. I'm just kind of sharing random stuff from my cabinet to see what happens and how people react to different kinds of spirits. Some of them you might know, and some of them you might not. So yeah, that's kind of the gist. And we'll just kind of talk about tasting notes and talk about what we like and what we don't like. We'll give it a little bit of a score. We've used like 1 out of 5 for the nose, the palate, and the finish the previous couple of times. So we'll do that as well. But yeah, we'll try to share notes so that the people in the chat can try to guess away as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks for joining.
Cheers.
And thanks for joining everyone in the chat. Thanks for popping in. The Whiskey Jam is here as well now. What's going on? Just a few people in the chat hanging out. Thanks for joining, guys. So we have 2 spirits. Oh, see, I didn't actually, I put them way over there. Now I can't. Now I can smell the difference. We'll start with I've been going with the alphabet here. So we did A, B first, then C, D. So now we're on E, F. So we'll start with E.
Hey. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I had this in the post from Johnny. It looks suspiciously like some kind of medical sample when it arrives, but hey.
Yeah, so if your local health authority is out of the medical tubes, it's because I bought them all and I used them to test samples. The reason there's not enough testing happening in the UK right now is because I send a lot of samples. So priorities, guys, priorities. Right, cool. So sample E. So this hopefully should be interesting. So we'll see what happens. So we'll kick off with the nose, and I'll let Stephen start because Stephen has a stellar nose. And, we'll see what he can come up with, and then yeah, we'll just take it from there.
It smells like it's quite peachy, kind of quite fruity, a little bit medicinal as well. There's something really familiar that I've never smelled in a distill. It's almost like, this is going to sound random, but it's almost like a peach schnapps kind of peachy aroma to it.
Peach schnapps, interesting.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
Is that like a thing in the UK, peach schnapps, or no?
It is if you're 13 and you're drinking it down the park. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Ian? What are your first impressions?
I certainly agree with the fruit, the kind of stone fruitiness. I'm getting some kind of herbal notes as well from it. Almost kind of going into kind of some florals as well. It's very, very interesting. It's sweet, but as Stephen said, kind of maybe toned down a little bit by that kind of slightly kind of medicinal, like herbal, like kind of vegetable kind of note. It's weird. It's like someone sprayed peach schnapps on like a Chelsea flower show.
On a Chelsea flower show. All right, that should be enough for everyone in the chat to guess what it is. So let's see. So Greg is saying peach schnapps.
Peach?
It's not peaty.
No.
Peachy. Definitely not.
Peachy, not peaty. Yeah, there's a massive difference here.
It's
I'm getting a little bit of that, almost like aniseed note. There's a little bit of that, but it's also very orchard fruit kind of forward. But there's a weird kind of schnapps aspect of it. I think for me is like an aniseed type sensation.
Right. Yeah, I suppose because I mean, the weird thing is it smells a little bit kind of, It's not acetone. It's not kind of like, it's not ethyl acetate or anything like that I would get in the highest Jamaican. But it's got that almost pear drop aroma to it.
Oh yeah.
It is a little bit kind of like a little pear drop, kind of weird green apple seeds.
Yeah, it's quite quite an artificial sugar, isn't it? It's not kind of it's not like a really rich or kind of dense, like kind of brown sugar. It's quite quite refined. And by refined, I think I mean, as I said, that kind of, you know, penny sweet kind of note that you're picking up, Stephen.
Yeah. It's almost like there's a little bit of, because now I'm starting to, as it's been sitting for a little bit, so now it's kind of warming up. I'm getting this kind of, you know, the kind of coffee that you have that are kind of, that has those like fruity notes to it.
Yeah, like tunes kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see what you mean with the kind of almost like artificial, because it's quite an intense heat of that. Like it's the wrong word, but I'll say one-dimensional in some aspects. Like it's very like much that, and then everything else is kind of like what's around it. It's difficult to tell because it's very singular focused on that one note.
Mm. The more I'm into it now, it's starting to smell very cider-like.
Oh yeah, cider.
Once you can work your way past that kind of the almost like the stinging pear drop kind of aroma with, like you were saying, it's a candied sweetness rather than a deep rich sweetness. So it is kind of like it's very, very cider-like on the nose.
Yeah, now you say that is, yeah, but it's but conversely, unlike a kind of a cheap kind of processed strongbow, it's more like it is more that kind of you know, proper strong kind of Dorset scrumpy cider.
Yeah.
I'm out of my territory here because I don't drink cider. Maybe I should.
Again, that was me on the park bench as a 16-year-old rather than teach snaps.
No, it kind of, I'm sticking with that as quite a prominent characteristic of it. It's almost like it's cider plus maybe a little bit. Is it the phenol one? Is it aquavit? The phenol spirit. It's kind of a little bit of that kind of spice on the nose, but predominantly apple.
Yeah, it's not bad. So I see what you're saying there, because I've had aquavits that has this type of profile, but what I normally would get with aquavit is a lot more of the base alcohol coming through, especially on the nose. I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm just saying typically on aquavits, even on some of those kind of more softer Norwegian kind of red potato aquavits, you get is a little bit softer and rounder, whereas most others are very sharp, almost like a metallic vodka sensation, which is just pure ethanol.
Yeah.
But this is very, very soft, and I've smelled cider, so I guess I can say that I can kind of see how it comes across cider, but I don't think I've ever tasted a cider, to be honest.
Well, after this is over, we'll get you down to Dorset and tasting some proper stuff that's been near an apple, rather than most of the stuff you can buy in a supermarket, which is fresh.
Fair enough. I'll take you up on that. Once we can get outside safely. We have some fun guesses coming through here. Port finish tequila. Interesting. don't get any agave here, but who knows? Who knows? He was asking if anyone thinks that it is a whiskey. No one thinks it is a whiskey.
No, definitely not.
No. A beer? No.
Nope.
Jim's saying cider or brandy.
Could maybe be some kind of, it could be a fruited, like fruit flavored brandy. You can, get apple cider brandy. Give it the fact
Calvados.
Calvados, yeah. With an apple note.
Jim is also saying, I have no idea what this is. Flaming Pig Black Cat Small Batch. Whatever this is. No idea. Jim, you're going to have to explain it. Flaming Pig.
Talk.
I mean, I can visualize the flaming pig inside a black cask, but it doesn't come across as something spirit-like.
Yeah. No pork aroma, although.
No, there's no pork cracklings or anything like that. Although I do love myself some pork cracklings. So Jimmy Jazz is asking ABV. What do you guys think in terms of alcohol, just based on the nose alone?
Nose only. It was quite a bit of strength to it to start with. So nose only, I would say low 50s.
Yeah.
Low 50s.
Definitely
Judgment
above,
for the palate.
definitely above 40. Yeah. Probably no higher, as I said, than low 50s. So yeah, somewhere between 46 and 52 would be my guess.
Yeah, I would say probably, just based on the nose, obviously I know what it is, but I would say on the nose, I think it's kind of mid-40s. That's how it comes across to me. It's very, very, very faint on the tongue. But yeah, that might be different. So I actually, for everyone's information, I've never tasted this before. I opened this bottle just for you guys. So this is my first taste.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're ABV.
Ooh. Finish it.
Doesn't stick around, does it?
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's very subtle.
It's blinking, you miss it.
Very, very watery. Definitely, ABV is
It's lower than the nose told me, definitely.
Yeah.
It's quite perfumed on the palate, isn't it? It's back to what you were saying. It's almost kind of a violet kind of thing on the palate.
Yeah, it's very fragrant. It's
Mm.
very interesting. Wow.
So it's
The
a
green-
Chelsea flower show.
Yeah, the green fruit sticks through though, but yeah, it is still it is floral.
So what do you guys think? ABV lower?
45.
45?
Yeah, definitely not 40 still. I might kind of go for the lower end of my spectrum and put my peg at 46.
All right. It is 47.7.
Ooh.
Not bad.
So it's definitely not Mad Dog 2020 then.
Or Flaming Pig, whatever.
Yeah.
So, Greg, it's not a random purchase, but it's been sitting around for a while, and I just hadn't opened it. So yeah, I had not tasted it until just now. So yeah, first time. And is it over 100 pounds? I think it was. I think it was over 100 pounds. Jim is saying we don't seem too impressed. I'm trying to process this whole thing because it's actually quite subtle, but it has quite a bit of nuance to it.
I think I'm probably as much perplexed as anything else. I mean, probably 80 to 90% of my spirits consumption is Scotch, or at least whiskey, and then most of the rest of it will be rum with a little bit of cognac and gin thrown in. And I'm 99% sure it's none of those. So I'm still just trying to figure it out as much as anything else. It's not unpleasant. I'm just confused.
It's got plenty of that fruit. It's like I think the problem for the palate is it just doesn't stick around for long enough for you to fully appreciate it. Everything it is very, very light, very subtle. Obviously, the key with that is to keep drinking, but
yeah. So here's what kind of baffles me a little bit, because although the finish is quite short and it kind of disappears a little bit. There's a little bit of a burst on the palate. You kind of get a lot of those kind of floral and very orchard fruit flavors coming through, and then it just kind of disappears. However, as soon as I start breathing, like all of those fumes kind of just linger for some reason.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like it's there without. It's baffling in a weird way.
Yeah, it's just kind of a slightly sour oak spice that kind of lingers. You know, it kind of fades very quickly to that one note, but then that one note kind of sticks around for a while. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's funny to say oak because now I'm starting to get that kind of woody sensation, but not in like a typical. I drink a lot of bourbon, and it's not that kind of charring. It's not that kind of like toasted oak sensation, but there is a woody sensation to it somehow that kind of fits with that after fume.
It's quite a. Sorry, I was going to say it's quite almost a kind of like a new wood.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of spice to it. You know, a little bit of heat.
We're talking about woods. Any thoughts on age? This is an age-stated bottle.
it is an age-stated bottle.
Yes, it is an age-stated bottle.
Genuinely, I wouldn't have a clue. I'd say.
Stephen, this is the first.
I don't know, yeah. I'd say it's. So I'm going to hedge my bets and say between 5 and 10.
5 and 10.
Probably close. You know, if I'd say probably in the middle of both of them. To be honest, maybe 8 or 9 years old. Doesn't seem to have borrowed a huge amount from the barrel. So whether it's been, I mean, I don't know. Certain spirits will categorise time in a larger vat as maturation, won't they? Whereas others demand a maximum size of barrel for maturation. So depending on the spirit, I'm not sure, but definitely doesn't look necessarily oily enough to be anything that's necessarily pot distilled. So I'd say potentially a column distillation.
What about you, Ian? What do you think? Want to chance yourself with any kind of guess on age on this one?
I'm in two minds because I still don't know what it is. I kind of get the feeling with the apple note that if it is something like a Calvados, then I don't know if it's. I have no idea what the wood policy is. Whether it's supposed to go into fresh oak for that. At that point, it could have a reasonably big age statement on it, like a kind of 20 or something, and I'd be none the wiser. But if it's more of some kind of New World spirit, I'm also unfamiliar with it. Then it's not overly youthful, but again, I'm with Stephen. It doesn't taste kind of like it's been massively matured for any particularly prolonged period of time. But location is so important to that. You can have amazing whiskey from Kavalan that's been aged 3, 4, 5 years because of the climate over there. It's the same if you're buying Amber or Paul John. So age is a number, and I think the location and the process is more important. But
yeah,
goodness knows. I'd say I'd be surprised if it's less than 5 and more than 20. So an even wider range than Steven.
Fair enough. And while we're on the topic, let's just bring back the fact that last week we did taste a Kavalan, and it was not a success.
I've had a Kavalan Soloist ex-bourbon cask, and to be honest, I found it round very hot. Really, it wasn't the best. But I've had some samples of some of their others, and I think they do have quite significant batch variation. And I think in terms of the picks, because a lot of their output is single casks, I think they probably don't put as much care into them as they could or should do anymore. I think that they're at risk with their reputation a little bit. But yeah, if you get a good Kavalan pick, I have had a couple of pretty outstanding casks, but yeah, there's certainly more variation than you'd like to see with what they're putting out.
Yeah, we had so I bought a bottle just many years ago. It was 2016, I think. It was the Soloist sherry cask, and I picked it up because I thought I'm gonna get into Scotch, and that at that point in time I really hadn't explored that much. But this one, won a bunch of awards, and it was just like, and I opened it again, similar to this one. I hadn't opened it. I opened it a few weeks back, shared the samples, and it was just not. Well, I'm sure, like it's something is good. It's highly personal. However, none of the people on the stream were impressed with that, including myself, unfortunately. So yeah, we can put it down to batch is one thing, but also like it's personal preference as well. So
yeah, price is a big problem with Kavalan in this country as well.
Yeah. They're highly priced. I mean, it's crazy. I can't remember what I paid. I picked this up in duty free in Singapore, so it wasn't super crazy, but yeah, it was pricey even back then. All right, cool. So I guess it's time to reveal what this wonderful strain spirit is. However, I do want to do a quick round of ratings. So 1 to 5 on the nose, the palate, and the finish. Stephen, I'll let you go first, and we'll move on later.
I think for me, the nose is the best thing about this. So I'm actually, everything seems from the initial pour where I thought it felt a little bit boozy. This is my first pour of the evening. So everything seems well integrated. There's no real off notes on the nose. So for me, for the nose, I'm going to give it a 4. I find it really pleasant. For the palate, initially quite a lot of sweetness, quite a lot of flavour, a lot of fruit. Tiny bit of spice. Then the palate starts the downward bend for me, so I'm going to go 3.5 on the palate, and the finish is over so quickly. I'm probably going to go down to a 3.
All right.
Maybe lower for the finish. Actually, I'm probably going to give it a 2.5 on the finish.
All right, Ian, What do you think?
For me, yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to be broadly aligned with Stephen. The nose is by far and away the most interesting. I think, we talked about that for the longest. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's not completely harmonious for me because I think mingling all that fruit and floral and slightly herby notes is almost too much. I think I'll go for a 4 as well. The palate is then kind of less interesting by an order of magnitude. You lose the kind of herbiness, the medicinal quality, and you kind of just have the sweetness and the kind of fruitiness. So I think I'll give that a 3. And then, as I said, the finish, you kind of pretty much go instantaneously to that kind of sour, slightly kind of wet, woody note for me. So I think I give it a 2 on the finish.
All right, cool. Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I think it's kind of starts really well, dips a little bit, and then it doesn't really follow through. There's a little bit of a disconnect between like the start and the finish of just trying to enjoy this. So yeah, I think it starts really high, really promising, but then unfortunately it doesn't linger. So it's time for the reveal, and it was brought up several times, so people have actually guessed that this is a Calvados.
Hey.
So this is a 20-year-old
There we go.
Calvados Chateau de Brille, and I'm sure Greg can be helpful now in terms of explaining the rules of Calvados, because I've done as much research as I have for all the other streams, which is absolute zero. I should know because it is part of my studies at WSET, but I can't remember. So all the process stuff, Greg, feel free to fill us in the chat. But so 20 years old, 47.7%. And this is actually a 40-year anniversary celebration bottling for Amethyst. See if we can zoom in there.
I would never have picked it at that old.
And it came with like a very fancy kind of hard shell and a piece of string. So there's that.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever had Calvados before, but obviously it can be, as well aged as, a lot of Scotch. So yeah, that was me with a punt at 20 at the upper limit, as opposed to any. I don't want to claim any knowledge or foresight into that.
Yeah, this is I've had a few Calvados, but this is I think the first one that's had kind of a significant kind of statement to it. So like a 20-year-old, and I've been kind of. So the story behind this is like my collection was predominantly American whiskey for a long, long time. It was like 100+ bottles, where I maybe had like 1 or 2 bottles of rum and a couple of bottles of Scotch. And now I've tried to kind of scale that back and have interesting bottles in different categories. So I bought this because it was the only kind of age-stated Calvados that I came across. And I just thought it was really interesting to have something that kind of stood out in that category. I'm looking to get something more like standard Calvados to have it in comparison with that, because I actually don't know what just normal bog standard Calvados is supposed to taste like. So this year, I guess it's just an anomaly. So yeah, but I wanted to open it and share it with you guys. So yeah, there it is.
Cool.
Nice.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, people. I think there was a few people that actually threw it out there. Sam Clark put it in earlier on Calvados. You guys mentioned it as well. A few people called it out. So yeah. Not too far off. I think the kind of fruitiness gave it away, and the cider kind of notes, I guess, is quite similar. So this is like apples and pears. I think predominantly pears in this one, as far as I recall. Can't remember.
Yeah, I think if I'd have measured up a random punt on what the bottle was, I'd have probably said it was maybe one of those Cadenheads Calvados that they put out last year, because they all had age statements on. They were around the kind of price that you mentioned. Right. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. It's interesting. It's actually not too bad. Like, I think it's also like when you don't know, you're kind of just judging based on it. I think there's a time and a place for these things. So yeah, it's all fun and games. All right, cool. So let's move into the. I'll just show the bottle real quick. So let's move into the second tasting. So this was the first of the evening. So sample E, the alphabet was the 20-year-old Calvados. And now we move into the next sample. This will be fun. Something very, very different. Evil laugh. All right, cool. Hopefully people in the chat are having a drink. If you're not having a Calvados, let us know what you're drinking. Say cheers. All right, Ian, do you want to start with first impressions on sample number 2 here?
Very different. It's quite creamy notes to it. It's kind of quite cereal driven. Trying to work out whether it seems kind of. I don't know enough about kind of American stuff. I'm kind of going with it maybe being some kind of corn-led whiskey of some kind. Yeah, it's quite fresh. As I said, quite kind of biscuity. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's funny about now you say biscuit, because I wasn't really getting those cereal notes. As soon as you said biscuit, it kind of gave me a little bit of a flashback. There's a certain biscuit that this reminds me of. It has like a very, very light milky chocolate kind of color. Yeah, like an Oatly type thing. Yeah. Interesting.
A lot of I think you're right with the chocolate as well. It's a kind of it's not dark chocolate at all. It's quite a light milk chocolate. So it's like a kind of milk chocolate covered hobnob.
That's it, hobnobs. Solid. Steven, you're deep in thought there. What you got for us?
Yeah, the initial nose that I got was a bit of banana. Just kind of like just really overripe banana.
Yeah.
Maybe a touch of like a black tea kind of note to it.
Gosh, it's interesting now you say that. If I draw on it really heavily, there is quite a kind of a sweet kind of tropical note to it. Yeah, you're right. Kind of sweet. Maybe more getting maybe slightly more pineapple out of it than banana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I can't smell anything except for banana. Thanks, Steve. But there's a little bit of acetone on top of that banana. There's a little bit of like very sharp, like undertone that kind of comes with that sweetness. It's delivered in a very, very determined fashion.
Yeah. It's quite focused, isn't it? So almost it's like kind of banana, not full bore foam banana, but kind of like almost a chewy banana sweet note to it as well. But not that's putting it out as though it's a fake banana or a Nesquik milkshake banana. It isn't. It kind of feels like a really overripe bit of banana, but with almost like a powdered sugar kind of candied sweetness to it.
But not
you know
pie,
what it's that.
maybe.
You know those little sour sweets, the sour sweet, almost like the bands, but with a banana flavor. Because it has a sour it's sweet, but it has a sour kind of tendency that kind of triggers the nose a little bit. Fascinating. What do you guys think on the to kind of follow treat with the first spirit here in terms of ABV. Just when you think about the nose itself, like how does it come across in the glass in terms of alcohol?
It does carry with it a fair bit of astringency.
It's quite odd. You can you get a whiff of alcohol from a fair distance on it that suggests it's a little bit spirity, but actually it allows you to stick your nose right in it and still have a good whiff as well. And actually, it smells less alcoholic up close than it does from a bit of a distance from me.
Yeah.
It's a bit funky as well.
Yeah.
There's like a funkiness to it.
There's a fair bit of alcohol. I'm gonna stick my nose out and say that's probably low to mid 50s.
Low to mid 50s. What about you, Stephen? What do you think?
I don't know. It is the case that you do get that little bit of alcohol up front, but I think I'm wondering whether it's maybe slightly more youth than ABV. So maybe I think on the nose I'd peg it at about 45, 46.
45, 46. So we have we got mid 50s. All right.
Quite a range.
A divide. All right. This should be interesting. Yeah, I think from the nose alone, and again, obviously, I know what this is. I would probably put this at the low 50 mark, like 51, maybe 52, just on the nose. I think it does integrate the alcohol pretty well, but still, as you're pointing out, Stephen, I think there's a little bit of youth there because the alcohol does peak out every now and then, just on its own. You can at certain angles when you start, you can get some of that pure ethanol coming out of it. So it's not fully integrated in that sense. But yeah, I think there's there to hit like the 50 mark for me on the nose. Brown sugar as well. As you warm it up, there's a lot of brown sugar, molasses type stuff coming on, like almost burnt raisins.
Yeah, it's like a fruitcake, but there is a slight dissonant return right as kind of a top note to it.
Yeah, I'm getting more kind of orange zest as it warms up to kind of go with it.
Yeah. It's definitely quite warm, this baking spice. Like orange zest, brown sugar. Banana still. Lots of banana. They're also funky. I think there's this funk. And for me, I'm not sure if I would be able to pick it out on the nose in terms of what kind of funk it is. I know what kind of funk it is, but all right, cool. Taste it. Cheers. Now this one I haven't had before, so I do know this one.
Well, that wasn't as expected.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Interesting. What do you think, Ian?
There's quite a lot going on there. Yeah, that orange I started picking up as we were going through the nose comes out more strongly to me. But it's also got quite a almost pastry-esque kind of note to it from the kind of. So maybe that was kind of the biscuitiness that I was picking up on the nose kind of transfers into kind of a pastry note, but then you still get the raisin as well, which is weird. It's almost like a kind of, it's quite creamy on the palate. So it's almost like a kind of eclair with that kind of pastry note and creaminess, but then you've kind of got that orange zest, but still kind of raisins and dark fruits going on at the same time. So I said it's quite busy.
It's like a Christmas chocolate.
Yeah, Terry's chocolate orange.
Chocolate orange, yes, that's the one. There's the chocolate notes.
Yeah, it's like I'll get a fresh open bag of raisins and kind of mixed candied peel on the palate for me. From the nose, I'm genuinely expecting a rummier experience on the palate.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so Christmassy because it doesn't. It's got a lot of those kind of baking spice and chocolate and citrus notes and raisin sultanas, dates that you'd get from a kind of a good sherry matured whiskey. But if this is a sherry matured Scotch, then I'm the only one not wearing a hat, but I will go and find a hat and eat it.
Well, I can send you one. Now we have it on recording here, so we'll see what happens.
Oh God, please don't be a sherry matured Scotch.
That's a big statement right there, Ian. We're witnesses.
It'd be more just the fact it'd be so weird to me if it, given the volumes I've drunk of it over the last 5 or 6 years, it would just be so weird for me if it is.
The thing is, there's always more stuff to taste.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got kind of, I think that's where I was maybe confusing myself. It's almost like it's got a grain whiskey kind of sweetness to it, almost like a candy floss kind of vibe to it as well. But I'm wondering if because I think the nose to me was quite heavily based around fruit and raw on the nose for me. But it wouldn't surprise me but palate, well, I mean, the nose essentially to me started off initially describing that. But it had that trademark banana and tea kind of notes to it, which is a trademark worthy bark. And I'm still getting the stewed black tea on the nose, but on the palate it kind of opens up into something different. So I'm wondering if it's at some point maybe it's had a rum cask maturation in there.
Yeah,
So if it is
I haven't had a lot of grain whiskey, so I've had a few now, but yeah, it has like a certain floral, a certain sweetness that I'm not sure I would be able to identify, but yeah, for me it doesn't come across as that kind of, from just my very limited experience, it doesn't come across as that, but I can kind of see.
I've definitely pegged the ABV higher on the palate. I think it is a little bit of youth in there, but I'd say you're probably talking early 50s on the palate. I think it's got that heat. It's got that nice kind of almost peppery, spicy entry. And you're getting, even though the colour doesn't dictate, which makes me think obviously it's not hot comic maturation. It's got a really nice dry note that kind of sweeps across the edges of your tongue.
Yep. What do you think on the ABV there, Ian? On the palate?
Yeah, I'm going to keep my guess at kind of early mid 50s, as Stephen said. There's There's a prickly little bit of heat on the tongue. There's plenty of flavour. It's not particularly heavy mouthfeel, but you can feel it's got some punch to it. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it as early mid-50s.
All right. It's 57.
Okay.
Wow.
57%.
Well, because this is something that I would feel more than comfortable sitting down and drinking a few glasses up in front of the TV. And I suppose it's one of those occasions where you only realise that it's 57% when you get to get up and your legs don't work.
Yeah. It will ruin your day after that school night for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually, this is a surprise to me on this particular spirit here is how well integrated this high level of alcohol into this spirit is.
Mm.
And you'll know in a bit why I say it that way. But yeah, it's very surprising to me how well it's hidden. Because it doesn't, for me, it's still on the palate. I would still say like low 50s, maybe like towards the mid 50s. But yeah, 57, I think. That's well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about age? Do you get any kind of sense of maturation and sense of age out of the spirit?
Plenty less than 10, maybe. Is it an age-stated bottle?
No, but there's a direction of the age, so we can kind of talk about the age when the reveal happens.
I'd say 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's no kind of real off notes, no kind of metallic tang to it or anything. It's sufficiently matured without being well matured. So yeah, I think I'd be surprised if it was less than 5, and surprised if it was more than 8 or 9. Yeah, maybe go for let's go for 7.
All right, cool. All right. So yeah, for me, I find it difficult to put an age on it because I think on the palate it leaves quite a high volume of flavors, and a lot of it could be potentially pointed towards some kind of maturation, some wood, but it could also be something completely different like fermentation. And it's just, for me, I wouldn't be able to get an age at all on this. I think I would probably guess that it was somewhat young, because although it is integrated with alcohol quite well, I think there's still some very sharp notes coming out. Like it's quite aggressive.
Yeah.
Like it's not mellow or anything like that. Like what you would have, like more mature spirits. All right, so who wants to go first in terms of? If you want to do a guess, that's completely fine. You don't have to, but give it a rating across nose, palate, and finish. Ian, do you want to kick us off?
I like this. It's you've got that. I think the contrast between the fruits, the citrus fruit, the tropical fruit. As said, that kind of slightly kind of viscousness on the nose, which certainly gives it a good amount of interest. On the palate, there's a good punch. Again, I think maybe like a Calvados, kind of maybe slightly less going on, but it's not quite such a stark contrast as that was in terms of kind of losing the notes. The finish, I think, is much more integrated as well. It's kind of despite the fact it's definitely younger, and as you said, feistier, is actually kind of smoother on the finish, but kind of has kind of different kind of, to me anyway, and it's got kind of more going on as well. So I think for me, it's probably another 4 on the nose, and then probably a 3 or 3.5 on the palate and for the finish as well. So to me, I enjoyed this a fair amount more than the Calvados.
Yeah. Cool. Stephen, what's your final verdict?
I think the news again on this one, as with the first one, is for me the winning aspect of the drop. I think it's the fact that it had that banana, it had the tea, it had a lot of tropical fruit, it had the fruit cake, the raisins, kind of the sting of a little bit of time in oak. There is some real, not necessarily pencil shavings, but some definite things borrowed from the barrel with a bit of spice, a little bit of vanilla. I'd say the nose for me is probably it is a good 4, maybe pushing 4.5 on the nose. Palate, I think, is where the alcohol integration, although it is very, very well integrated, I think it does like you say, it does peak out at certain points.
Yeah,
it's almost like it's like the a little bit too much bass response on the speakers, and occasionally the bass speaker starts to essentially fall at you a little bit, doesn't it? Coming from a very, very poor bass player, but yeah, I'd say the palette for me is probably down at 3.5, and the finish does pick up again. It does kind of it puts together the finish kind of. Once the alcohol's burnt off, gives you what I was hoping to get from the palate. It kind of brings back some of the aspects from the nose. Yep. So I'd say for the finish, probably up at a 4 again.
Yeah, I'll agree. I think for me, the finish is actually what wins for me. I would say on the nose, it's probably around a 4. On the palate's about a 3. I think on the finish, it's about 4.5 for me. I think it's actually quite pleasant. It's very long. It has actually quite different aspects of it on the finish. Like it kind of develops a little bit, and it changes, and it kind of comes back as well, I think. And maybe this is just for me. I'll give I'll give it the rating based on not only kind of just for interest, but also because it's kind of like it's aligned with some of my preferences. But I think it's in terms of quality, I think it's really well balanced on the finish. I think the nose is really good, but it's kind of dip and then kind of picks back up.
Yeah, I think this would pair really nicely with some chocolate actually, where the kind of finish kind of works out. It's not too intense. You kind of get some oiliness that comes through as well that I think would go well with some kind of nice kind of dark chocolate, or even kind of almost even kind of liqueur or flavored chocolate as well.
Yeah, I would love to have this with ice cream, just like a plain vanilla, like a really good vanilla ice cream in this. Oh my gosh. I wish I had some ice cream right now.
Yeah.
So there's no guesses in the chat, and we haven't really determined whether or not we think this is any specific category of spirits here, and like the chat is pretty quiet, so I don't know if people are afraid of sticking their nose out. But do you guys want to give it a go, or should we just reveal and then chat from there?
I think it tastes very much like, and this is it does open me up to looking like a bit of a tit, to be honest. But
what else is new for you?
Well, that's very true. Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing a cap. I'm a 43-year-old man wearing a baseball cap. I've got nothing left. But it tastes like a fair few kind of European, solely European maturation rums that I've had previously. It's kind of, it has that not much tropical, plenty of European age going on, almost dominantly European age. I'd say it's had dealings with rum at some point.
I'd be really surprised if it hasn't.
Jimmy Jazz is incorrect. It's not whiskey with an E. All right, so you guys ready?
Worthy Park.
There we go. So Jamaica, Worthy Park. This is the transcontinental rum line. And this one here, so aged less than 2 years in tropical and more than 2 years in Europe.
Hey,
So
that's good.
it doesn't say how long, but it says that it has aged on either side, but less on the tropical side. So yeah, Stephen, your nose is impeccable as always. And yet you do look like a tit. But you do
but
know,
not for these reasons. Yeah, I look like for a tit, but not for my nose and palate. I look like a tit because how crazy was that I ended up? This was my my cup of choice tonight. Is that the 2013 or 2012?
13.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's what I was saying. Initially, that was the it was those that banana and black tea, which as soon as it came out of glass, that was leading through everything. It is so good to actually to get to blind taste it, because I think I know Worthy Park, and I always say that I can pick a Worthy Park out of a lineup. And do you know what? I'd say I was 75% of the way there.
You're pretty good. I mean, you didn't say this was Worthy Park, so you're
No,
spot on.
that's it.
Yeah, you're 50% correct.
Yeah. No, that one is a good bottle.
Distilled in 2013, bottled in 2017, so like just around the 4-year mark. Yeah, probably like a year or so in the tropics and about 3 over here in a colder climate. Yeah, this was interesting. I picked it up actually after the first rum fest I went to, because I thought these were just really interesting. And it's like, it's not your typical kind of Worthy Park or Jamaican rum, but it still has like aspects of that, and I thought it was a fun bottle to have.
Yeah,
50% left, not too bad.
that's
Last
solid. I mean, I'm going to watch this back, but I think yeah, I'm quite happy with that, to be brutally honest.
So is Ian.
Absolutely.
Doesn't need to eat a hat. So yeah,
I'm very glad about that.
Did we have you nervous for a second there?
Not really. When I first poured it out, I kind of thought this is either some kind of like weird, it was that kind of slightly kind of maybe corny, slightly cereally note that I got, the kind of hobnobby bit that kind of made me think that it could have potentially been like a whiskey with an E, but whether it actually would have said whiskey on the bottle, because it had like some kind of rum or other maturation, because it was like not an off note to it, but like there was something that made me think this is not an American whiskey. Something's happened to it, and worse, even with that kind of initial cereal note. But as we move through into the tasting, as I said, the kind of the sweetness, the kind of tropical nature of it, I'm no rum expert. I've had a few, Goslings is what I keep at home from a few trips to Bermuda that I've had over the years. But that's obviously a kind of darker and slightly different spirit to this in terms of taste. But yeah, the kind of the sweetness and the kind of citrus and the fruit notes made me think, well, yeah, this is. I mean, it's absolutely not a Scotch under any circumstances. I was pretty confident that I wasn't going to be eating a hat,
Right.
even with some of the notes we were getting off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, age-wise with this versus Goslings, I'd say this one, they're probably a very, very comparable age. This may even be, maybe even be slightly older than the Goslings. What Goslings has going for it is a boatload of caramel colour. They do colour heavily. This is so white because it's not spent much time in the Caribbean, and it's got no caramel colour added to it. But yeah, this is just beautiful natural sweetness, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it's pretty yummy. So I guess out of the two, so out of the Calvados and the rum, I guess the rum is the the taker of the two.
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah.
For me too, yeah. I think I'll save the Calvados for like as an interesting pour. It's fun to have something strange. So yeah, we'll save it for a day when I'm actually allowed to invite people over and have a drink. But might be a while. Who knows? All right, cool, guys. Thank you so much for participating in this fun social experiment. Hope it was fun and entertaining for you guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. My first Worthy Park and my first Calvados. So yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you, John.
There you go. Try new things. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. Or try things that you've drunk several bottles of in the past.
Nice.
Which is that one.
I will. My throat's off. Shit, coronavirus. I will say one thing. So I've completely forgotten that I'm actually doing a charity giveaway. So I'll highlight this real quick. So if you go to spiritspeople.com, I think I have the website somewhere here somewhere. Boom, there we go. spiritspeople.com/charity giveaway. You can win this bottle that I picked up. So this is from my personal collection, and I'm putting it up to support the NHS. And yeah, you can follow this URL, donate money, and for every pound you donate, you'll be able to potentially win this bottle. So yeah, does that. Completely forgot about that for 2 weeks. So well done.
That's pretty awesome. They're very generous.
I'm the worst at doing charities, apparently. I'm nowhere near Captain Tom, so he's probably like 20 million right now.
27, apparently.
Was that?
27 million.
27 million. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So his goal was like 1,000, and he's at 27 million. My goal was 20 million. I'm probably about a couple hundred, so I still have a few to go.
Dude, you need a Zimmer frame. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah. Gotta call the BBC and see what's going on. It's like, guys, come on.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I just need like an army outfit or whatever and just walk around with a bottle. There we go.
A few medals.
All right, cool. I'll bring up some URLs here. So, Stephen, people can find you on rumdiariesblog.wordpress.com. Check out all of your writings. You probably have the most rum tasting notes that I've ever seen in the world. So, everyone interested, go check it out. Anything new coming out this week?
Maybe this week. I'm potentially looking at a St. Lucia or another Worthy Park, but one that's seen 9 years in the tropics.
All right, cool. Keep an eye out for that. And of course, Ian, Posh Scotch over on Instagram. What's happening over there? Anything coming up? I've seen you post in like some kind of king outfit. What's that all about?
I have just finished doing a really stupid movie-themed bottle kill week, where kind of, pretty much the bottles that I've been through for the last kind of 6-9 months, I just decided I was going to keep them rather than recycling, and then do something idiotic with them. So I bought some costumes off of Amazon. I used my very poor Photoshop skills and my love of terrible 80s, 90s, and 2000s movies. So yeah, you can see me making an arse out of myself online on my Instagram page.
Amazing. Follow Ian on Posh Scotch, please. It's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. I think this is it. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Thanks for everyone in the chat for guessing away. And next week is the last of the group tastings, for now at least. I've only planned 4 tastings for April, and it was meant to be supporting all this giveaway stuff that I completely forgot about. But here it is. Please do support the NHS and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, that was the whole point, and I just forgot about it. So, but at least we had some fun tastings. So yeah, next week,
definitely
4th and final tasting. It's going to be with Toby from Whiskey Shared, so another YouTube channel. So he'll join us next week, and 2 more very interesting samples. So
Indeed.
yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks for joining, guys. Peace out.
Cheers. Thanks, Johnny.
Cheers.
See you, everybody.
Bye.